Welcome to the orientation video for your new SX, SR, or AR210. Prepare for fun, because this Yamaha boat has been engineered and manufactured with more features designed to deliver more boating enjoyment. Thank you for choosing a Yamaha. This video will introduce controls and features and show important pre-launch checks and maintenance requirements specific to your SX, SR, or AR210. It will also cover some of the on-the-water rules and operational procedures that are common to the entire Yamaha boat family. Whether this is your first boat or you've been boating for years, we encourage you to pay close attention. This video does not replace your owner's manual, operation instruction card, or product labels. It's intended to reinforce the information that these items contain. Never allow anyone to operate your Yamaha boat until they have completely read all of the instructional materials and have watched this video. An important part of fun boating is safe boating. We encourage you to follow the instructions contained in the safety information section of your owner's manual. Remember, for example, that this boat is recommended only for operators 16 years of age or older, and that a responsible adult must always supervise a minor. Also remember that no one should operate a boat after drinking alcohol or taking drugs. Boat operation requires common sense and good judgment, as well as skills and knowledge that must be learned. Take the time to become familiar with the craft and learn the basic techniques well before attempting any more difficult maneuvers. Always operate within your limits and avoid aggressive maneuvers to reduce the risk of loss of control, ejection, and collision. Remember, this is a high-performance boat, not a toy. Let's look at the functions of the basic controls of your Yamaha boat. There are two main switches, one for each engine. The main switches control the ignition and electrical circuits. During operation, this engine shutoff cord or lanyard must always be attached to the driver's personal flotation device or arm or leg. The clip on the other end must be attached to the engine shutoff switch in order for the engines to run. If the driver were to fall overboard or leave the helm, the cord would pull out the clip, stopping ignition to both engines. This prevents the boat from running away under power. Be sure the cord does not become tangled in the controls, as this could prevent the clip from pulling free of the shutoff switch. Remove the shutoff cord and keys from the boat after operation to avoid unauthorized use by children and others. Your steering wheel controls the left or right angle of jet thrust from the output nozzle at the back of the boat. This, combined with throttle, is what determines the direction of the boat. Without throttle or use of the no-wake mode system, the boat will not steer, except at a trolling speed, the lowest maneuvering speed. Your Yamaha boat propels ahead and forward because all the thrust coming out of the jet pump outlets is directed to the rear. In reverse, gates drop down over the outlets to redirect the thrust towards the front, causing the boat to travel backwards. The neutral position is actually a balance between forward and reverse. Unlike a car, there is no transmission. The powertrain always produces thrust when the engines are running, so some boat movement is possible. Each engine has a separate throttle shift lever. In normal use, you'll move both levers together. When these levers are centered, they are in the neutral idle position. Pushing them forward shifts the jet pump outlet gates into the forward position and applies throttle to increase jet thrust. Moving the levers to the rear shifts the jet pump gates to the reverse position and again applies throttle to increase jet thrust. The throttle shift levers must be in the neutral position before you can start the engines. Anyone operating a Yamaha boat should be familiar with all of the cockpit controls before heading out onto the water. The speedometer shows the boat speed in miles per hour. There are two tachometers. The one on the left side of the dash is for the port engine, and the one on the right side is for the starboard engine. For cruising, adjust the throttle shift levers so both engines are running at the same RPM. The depth sounder monitors and displays water depths from 2.5 to 200 feet. See your owner's manual for detailed information on the proper use and settings of this gauge. There are 3 warning indicators in each tach that correspond to the engine monitored by that tachometer. Check your owner's manual for their function and note that all 3 will blink when the no wake mode is engaged. To the left of the steering wheel, you'll find a switch for the blowers, which are used to vent any gasoline vapors in the engine compartment. Note that there are 2 breaker reset buttons for the blowers just to the left of the switch. Next to that, you'll find the switch that activates the circuit for the bilge pump. The pump will cycle a systems check when first turned on, but will not operate unless it senses excessive water in the bilge. This switch should be on whenever the boat is in the water and off when the boat is out of the water. There is 1 breaker reset button next to this switch and one that corresponds for each of the other switches as well. The courtesy light switch controls the lights located in the driver console area and large portside storage compartment. The boat light switch is a 3-position toggle switch that controls the onboard lighting. Press the top of the switch to turn on the bow light and stern light when boating at night. Press the bottom of the switch to turn on the stern light alone when anchored at night. Put the switch in the middle position to turn off the lights. This switch is used to sound the horn. Holding these 2 switches on the right-hand panel down for 3 seconds activates the no-wake mode system for the port and starboard engines. This is convenient for traveling in low speed limit areas posted as no-wake zones. See your owner's manual for further detail. The audio system can be operated with its main controls or by the remote keypad located at the swim step deck area. Your Yamaha SX, SR, or AR210 is equipped to carry up to 9 people, including the driver. The boat's weight maximum of passengers and gear combined is 1,674 pounds. Note that the weight of you and your passengers should never exceed this specified maximum. There are seats for 2 in the bow, 1 for the driver, and 6 in the cockpit. The swivel seat for the driver is 2-way adjustable. The front lever underneath the cushion will move the seat forward and backward, while the side lever will unlock the seat and allow it to pivot 180 degrees. The seat must be in the full forward position for it to fully rotate. On SX and AR models, this seat also allows drivers to raise their riding position with a flip-up bolster cushion. Note that the steering wheel is adjustable. Pushing the tilt lever offers a choice of 5 positions to comfortably accommodate different drivers. The seat and steering wheel must be fully locked into position before you start driving the boat. Your boat is also equipped with several storage compartments. This bow compartment can be used to conveniently store dock lines and an anchor. It is not to be used as a seat when the boat is underway. The lid also covers the fold-out bow boarding ladder. Close the lid by pushing on the middle of the spring support. A large storage area is in the bow area underneath the 2 forward seat cushions. Skis can be stored under the port seat cushions. There is a large storage locker in the passenger's console with enough room for bulky items, such as extra PFDs. The driver's armrest area is specifically designed to hold a fire extinguisher. The small upper compartment located in the front of the passenger's console provides convenient space for maps and personal objects. A cooler storage and wet locker is located beneath the floor. There are 2 more storage compartments under the rear side cushions. The AR-210 is equipped with an all-aluminum wakeboard tower. The wakeboard tower provides an elevated tow point suitable for wakeboards and similar towable recreational equipment. Be aware that the wakeboard tower has a one-person 350-pound maximum capacity. Make sure the tow rope is securely fastened to the tow pylon on the tower, and stay clear of the rope while pulling a wakeboard rider or skier. Do not climb, stand, or sit on the wakeboard tower, or modify it to tow from any other point. Only use accessories designed for your boat's wakeboard tower, and choose a genuine Yamaha accessory, or one that is equivalent in design and quality. The center folding windshield allows for easy walk-through to the bow seating. It must be secured whenever the boat is in motion or being trailered. The console storage locker door can also be used to block wind from the helm area while the boat is underway. Your boat features a pass-through transom to the large swim step deck. Note that while the swim step deck has padded backrests, this area is never to be occupied while the boat is in motion or the engines are running. The SX and AR-210 models come with a convenient removable cockpit table. The table is easily mounted in a deck receptacle in either the cockpit or swim step area using one of two table legs. The taller leg is for the cockpit area, while the shorter one works best at the swim step. The SX and AR-210 are equipped with a folding bimini top. The top has its own cover and should be folded for trailering and whenever the boat is driven at speeds over 45 miles an hour. The SX and AR-210 also feature a full carpet set. The snap-in carpet sections are easily removed for cleaning. There are fore and aft retractable boarding ladders that must be in the up position and secured whenever the boat is moving. Aluminum alloy plates called sacrificial anodes are mounted on each of the jet pump outlets. Anodes are designed to address the problem of galvanic corrosion, which can damage metal surfaces below the waterline on any boat, particularly in salt water. Sacrificial anodes will erode first before metal components of your jet pump outlets are damaged. Anodes should be replaced when they have eroded to 1/2 of their original size. Another way to minimize damage is by not leaving the boat in the water for extended periods of time. The boat is shipped with a heavy-duty tandem axle trailer equipped with surge brakes. Consult the supplied trailer manual for details on features, operation, and periodic maintenance. Most boating adventures usually begin in the same place, the driveway. This is where you need to take a few minutes for careful inspection of your boat and gear before you leave home. We'll demonstrate how to prepare for a fun day on the water. Start with a walk around the trailer and inspect the brakes for fluid leaks and wear. Inspect the wheels and tires. Check tire pressure and lug nut tightness. Examine the wheel bearings and be sure they're adequately greased. Then push on the grease piston to be sure it moves, indicating it's off its stop. Inspect the hitch. Always use a 2-inch ball that's the exact size for the hitch. Grease the ball. The coupler must be latched with the hitch installed so that the coupler cannot open during towing. Be sure the safety chains are crisscrossed underneath the hitch with just enough slack to allow for a tight turn. In case the trailer hitch becomes disconnected, the trailer will remain with the tow vehicle. Check to see that the pin on the folding arm of the trailer is in place. Make sure the winch line, chain, and stern tie-downs are secured. Check the trailer lights, running lights, brake lights, turn signals to see that they're connected and working properly. Before moving into the boat to perform the pre-operation checks listed in your owner's manual, Inspect the hull for damage or cracks and be certain that there is no debris in the jet water intakes. Check that the drain plug in the center of the transom is tight and that the access port caps have been installed correctly. Inspect the battery to make sure the connections are tight. Be aware that you should never carry flammable substances in the battery compartment or any heavy or metal items that can damage the battery or cause a short circuit. Sparks or fire could result. Be sure you understand the function of each control and remove both keys and the lanyard to prevent accidental starting of the engines. Test the movement of the steering wheel. It should turn smoothly without roughness. Have a second person outside the boat watch the jet nozzles to see if they change direction as the steering wheel is turned. Make sure there's no free play or looseness between the steering wheel and jet nozzles. Operate each throttle shift lever several times. Make sure both move smoothly and without hesitation. The gates must drop down over the nozzles when the lever is set in reverse, and move up when the lever is in the forward position. Make sure hands are not near the gates during this test. When you finish, return the levers back to the neutral idle position. Press the bilge pump circuit switch and listen for the bilge pump to cycle. Press the blower switches to listen if the blowers are operational. Put the main switches in the on position and look at the fuel gauge to see if you'll need to get gas on the way to the water. Coast Guard regulations require a sound signaling device, so press the horn switch to test if it works. Confirm operation of the bow, stern, and instrument lights. Open the engine compartment by pulling up on the latch located under the front of the rear seat for a thorough inspection. The engine hatch will be supported by 2 gas-filled shocks on either side. Check the engine oil level in both engines each day before they're started while they're still cold. The boat should be in a horizontal position to accurately check engine oil levels. Remove the oil filler cap and check that the oil level is at least at the low level L mark on the dipstick. If oil levels on both engines appear at the L mark, it's okay to operate the boat. If no oil appears on the dipstick, then you should add just enough oil to raise the level to the low L mark. Adding 1 U.S. quart of oil will raise the oil level on the stick by approximately 2.2 inches. Note, the cap must be fully tightened before removing again to accurately check the new oil level. Caution: never add oil above the lower mark when the engines are cold. Adding oil above this mark in a cold engine may result in overfilling and cause loss of performance. See your owner's manual for further instruction if you're checking the oil level after the engines have been warmed up. Look over the engines. Look and smell for fuel leakage. If there's any fuel or oil in the engine compartment, clean it up right away and find the source. Take the boat to a Yamaha dealer. Do not operate the boat if you suspect a fuel leak. A good way to have fun on the water and avoid frustration on the launch ramp is to pre-run each engine before you leave home. You can start and run each engine for up to 15 seconds without any damage. But before you do this, push the blower switch. Since gasoline vapors are highly flammable and explosive, always operate the blower for at least 4 minutes before you start the engines. Don't be tempted to skip this step. Gasoline vapor in the engine compartment could ignite, causing fire or explosion. While the blower is operating, attach the lanyard clip to the engine shutoff switch. Remember, the throttle shift levers must be in the neutral idle position before you can start the engines. After 4 minutes, insert the main switch keys. Turn the starboard engine switch key to on. This switch is on the ignition circuit. Now, turn the key to start to crank the starter motor. As you hear the engine start, release the key. The switch will remain in the on position until the key is turned off to stop the engines. Do not keep the starter motor running more than 5 seconds. If the engine does not start after 5 seconds of cranking, release the key and wait at least 15 seconds before trying again to prevent battery discharge or damage to the starter motor. Once you've determined that the engine is running, Pull the engine shutoff cord to stop them and to test that the shutoff switch is working correctly. Turn the main switch key to off and reattach the shutoff cord. Now, repeat the procedure for the port engine. Remember, this is just a brief check to see if the engines will start. Don't run them too long. Running the engines without water for longer than 15 seconds may cause them to overheat and result in engine damage. That completes the pre-operation checks on your Yamaha boat. But there are still a few more things to take care of while the boat is still in the driveway. Be sure you have all the required gear. You and each of your passengers must wear properly fitting, Coast Guard approved personal flotation devices. You'll also need visual distress signals, a paddle, a wetsuit or wetsuit bottom for anyone who will be water skiing, wakeboarding, or tubing. Carry a fire extinguisher and check it to be sure it's fully charged and ready. Pack your mooring fenders and lines, anchor and line, tow rope, waterproof flashlight with extra batteries, navigation charts, manual type bilge pump, spare spark plugs and fuses, tool kit, and the other recommended items found in your owner's manual. Be prepared for the unexpected before you venture out. Take a first aid kit and marine radio. Check marine weather forecasts to be sure that prevailing weather conditions are good for boating before you go. And don't forget to file a float plan, either with someone at home or with a responsible person at the launch area. A sample is in your owner's manual. As you get ready to leave, remember that having all your gear packed and your boat ready to go before you launch means you won't tie up the ramp. This is called launch ramp courtesy. The less time you have to spend on the launch ramp, the sooner you and the person waiting to launch after you can get into the water. Once you get to the water, park out of the way of the ramp while you finish preparing the boat for launch. If there's anything else you're going to take with you that isn't already in the boat, put it in now. Turn on the engine blower so it can run while you finish preparations. Activate the bilge pump. If you can, watch other boaters as they launch. Look for any problems they're encountering, such as currents, obstacles, or an excessively slippery ramp. Attach the mooring lines and fenders on the side you'll dock the boat on after launch. Remove the bow and stern tie-downs. You and all your passengers must wear Coast Guard approved PFDs during the operation of your boat. Footwear and eye protection are recommended, and you may want to consider wearing gloves. When all the gear is packed, the blower has run for at least 4 minutes, and everyone has a PFD on, you're ready to launch. The windshield must be secured in either the open or closed position, and the driver's seat must be adjusted and locked before getting underway. Remember, during operation, the engine shutoff lanyard must be attached to the driver of the boat. Attach the cord to your PFD and be sure it's not tangled in the controls. While each person develops a launch method that feels most comfortable and the conditions at each ramp are different, here's a common launch strategy. Back the trailer down the ramp into the water as close to 90 degrees to the shoreline as you can. As you back up, turn the wheels the opposite direction you want the trailer to go. An easy way is to put your hand at the bottom of the steering wheel. Then, simply move your hand in the direction you want the trailer to go. Stop when the intake grates for the jet pumps are submerged. Remove the winch line hook from the bow. Start both of the engines. Caution: do not operate the boat with just one engine running. If single engine operation is unavoidable, operate at a no-wake speed only. See the owner's manual. Shift the boat into reverse and slowly back it off the trailer. Now that the engines are running in the water, have someone look to see if water is streaming from the cooling water pilot outlets on the starboard side of the hull. It can take about 20 seconds for water to reach the pilot outlets after starting. If you do not see any water, then it may not be circulating in and cooling the engine. Refer to the jet pump cleanout procedures. As captain of the boat, you are responsible for the safety of your passengers. As they take their seats, try to balance their weight from side to side as much as possible. Remember not to exceed the 9 people, 1,674-pound maximum at any time. Arrange your passengers so that the view ahead of the driver is clear and unobstructed. Be sure that your passengers all have their PFDs on and are sitting with their feet flat on the deck and not on the sides of the boat. Instruct them to use the handholds whenever the boat is in motion. Be aware that boats steer from the stern. When turning, the stern first swings in the direction opposite the way the boat is going to go. Remember that in order to steer, you need thrust. Pulling back the throttle shift levers to idle while traveling at speed will rapidly decrease your ability to steer. While some turning ability may exist immediately after pulling back the levers, once the engines slow down or are stopped, the boat will no longer respond to steering wheel input until you apply throttle again or you reach a trolling speed. Yamaha has included the innovative no-wake mode system on your boat that controls engine RPM to maintain a steady trolling speed. Engaging no-wake mode allows you to navigate areas where wakes are not allowed, or at other times when a slow speed is desired. The system is simple to use. With the throttle shift levers at idle, just press the top of both no-wake mode switches on the dash panel for 1.5 seconds to activate no-wake mode. The engine speed will increase to approximately 2,400 RPM, and the 3 indicator lights on each tachometer will flash, indicating that no-wake mode system is operating. The system may be used in either forward, neutral, or reverse, but is not intended for use while docking. To disengage no-wake mode, press both switches again momentarily. The system will also disengage automatically when the throttle shift levers are advanced more than 15 degrees from the idle position. As you navigate, keep in mind that boats don't have brakes. Even though the boat slows as soon as you pull back to the idle position, it is water resistance that actually stops the boat. A boat will coast for a distance before fully stopping, and your fully loaded Yamaha boat can take around 450 feet or 1.5 football fields to stop from full throttle. Do not use reverse to try to slow down from speed, because you could lose control, be ejected, or impact boat surfaces. When you're slowing down, don't shut off the engines, because if there's an obstacle in front of you that you can't avoid, you'll have to apply appropriate throttle to turn the boat in another direction. Using more power will turn the boat more sharply. There are rules of the road for boating just as there are on the streets and highways. Whenever 2 vessels meet one another on the water, one, called the stand-on vessel, has the right-of-way. The other boat is the give-way vessel. When you meet another boat on the water, keep in mind who has the right-of-way. You should yield right-of-way to any boat approaching you from the starboard or right side, anywhere in the area from straight ahead back to 112 degrees. A boat approaching from this direction is the stand-on vessel, and you are responsible for taking evasive action by turning and avoiding a collision. Before changing direction, be sure your maneuver will not put you in risk of a collision. If you're meeting another power vessel head-on and are close enough to run the risk of collision, both of you should alter your course to avoid an accident. Keep the other boat on the port side. Likewise, you have the right and responsibility to maintain your speed and course if a boat is approaching you from any other direction, so he can best plan how to avoid you. Obviously, if a collision looks possible, both boats should maneuver to avoid it. You'll find a summary of additional rules of the road in your owner's manual, and more complete information is available from your local Coast Guard auxiliary. As operator of the boat, you must scan constantly for people, objects, and other watercraft. Look carefully to be sure the path ahead is clear before you start to accelerate. As the boat starts to move, be prepared for the bow to rise. This could briefly obstruct your forward view. Operate defensively at safe speeds. Do not follow directly behind other boats, and refrain from making sharp turns or other maneuvers that make it hard for others to understand where you're going. The best way to cross wakes and swells is to minimize jolt to you by slowing down and quartering the wake, which is crossing at an angle. As you do this, the boat will try to steer away from the wake or swell. This may not be noticed when crossing at a 45-degree angle, but at a smaller angle, it can be very strong. Crossing at a 90-degree angle is necessary if the wakes are larger and cresting. Do not use your boat in water that is less than 3 feet deep. Sand or pebbles can be sucked into the jet intakes, which could damage the impeller. Shallow water also increases your chance of colliding with a submerged object. Stay away from swimming areas. Swimmers are hard to see, and you could accidentally hit someone in the water. If you are going to tow someone on water skis, a wakeboard, or a tube, you'll need a rearward-facing observer. Like everyone else, your water skier must be wearing a PFD. Normal swimwear does not offer protection from severe internal injuries that can occur as a result of forceful entry of water into body cavities due to being near jet nozzles or falling into the water. For that reason, anyone being towed must also wear a wetsuit bottom or clothing that provides equivalent protection. Because strong streams of water and debris exiting the jet thrust nozzles can cause severe injury, shut off the engines if passengers are in the water directly behind the boat or boarding from the water. Anyone boarding from the water should use the ladder on the transom, not the jet pump housings, to climb onto the swim platform. It's also important to have the engines off when anyone is using the swim step area. Exhaust fumes coming from the stern area contain carbon monoxide, a colorless, odorless gas which may cause brain damage or death when inhaled. Move to fresh air if you feel nausea, headache, dizziness, or drowsiness. As you use your Yamaha boat, you may encounter weeds or other debris in the water. This can clog the jet intakes, causing loss of power. You can help avoid problems by staying out of areas with a lot of weed growth. If travel in these areas is necessary, you can help keep intakes free from debris by moving the throttle shift levers back and forth. Reducing and increasing throttle causes water pressure to fluctuate at the intake rates. If the intakes do clog, you can use the cleanout ports to remove debris. Keep hands, feet, hair, and all other parts of your body and clothing away from the jet intakes on the bottom of the hull while the engines are running. Shut off the engines and remove both ignition keys and the shutoff cord. Wait for all movement to stop. Then, open the hatch on the swim platform and remove the caps by pressing the release button and lifting the cap from the port. Reach in and take out the debris. Be careful, the impeller blades can be sharp. To reinstall the cap, align the tab with the slot in the port and push down firmly until it locks. Verify that the cap is locked by pulling up on the handle, then close the hatch. There are interlocks, so the engines won't start again if the hatch is left open. After a long day of fun on the water, you might be tempted to take shortcuts to get home sooner. Keep in mind that correct procedures are as important for your boat at the end of the day as they are at the beginning. Don't come in right after you've run the boat at full throttle. Let the engines cool down with a few minutes of operation at an idle. When you're ready to pull the boat out of the water, have someone back the trailer in far enough for you to gently power the boat onto it. Never use the bow winch line to drag the boat onto the trailer. Attach and snug the bow winch line once the entire boat is on the trailer. Pull the trailer up and out of the water and move to an area not blocking the ramp. Choose a location where the bow of the boat will be higher than the stern. Remove the drain plug at the bottom of the transom and allow the water to drain. Secure the boat to the trailer at the bow and stern. On your way home, stop and top off a fuel tank. This will prevent water condensation in the fuel. If you've been boating in salt water, follow the post-operation checks in your owner's manual as soon as possible. Each engine must be flushed to prevent corrosion and plugging of the cooling system. Screw the flush kit adapter onto a garden hose and open the cap for the engine you're going to flush. Press the adapter into the flush hose connector and turn until they're securely connected. Start the engine, then fully turn on the water supply. Do not turn on the water first because this can cause engine damage. Flush each engine for at least 10 minutes if you've been in salt water. After you've done this, turn off the water supply. Drain any remaining water from the exhaust system by running the engines without water for 10 to 15 seconds while alternately pushing and pulling the throttle levers up to half throttle and back. Once both engines have been flushed and drained, open the rear platform hatch. If water is pooled on top of the access port caps, remove them and let the water drain. Clean any sand or other debris from the caps and port sealing surfaces. As you reinstall each cap, make sure that the notch is facing the bow. Press down firmly on the T-handle to secure, and then test by giving the handle a strong pull. If this can move the handle, the cap is not locked and could be forced out by water pressure during your next use. Next, wash and wipe down the boat and trailer. Open the engine hatch so the engine compartment can dry completely to prevent a hothouse effect. Once the engines are dry, spray them and other metallic parts with Yamaha silicone protectant. Check over the hull for cracks and other damage. Look at the intake grates under the boat for debris. Inspect the anodes each time the boat is removed from the water. Replacement of the anodes is recommended when they have eroded to approximately 1/2 of their original size. See the instructions for anode replacement in your owner's manual or have your Yamaha dealer replace them. If you're going to store the boat for a month or more, use Yamaha fuel conditioner and stabilizer in your fuel tank to protect fuel quality and help prevent condensation. Put the conditioner in the fuel tank and run the engines for a couple of minutes with a flush attachment to provide cooling water to the engines. That will ensure that treated fuel makes its way through the fuel lines and fuel injection system. You'll also want to remove the battery and store it in a cool, dry area separate from the boat. Be sure it's topped off with clean distilled water and charge it monthly with a suitable battery charger. After washing, wax your boat. Use Yamaha protectant or other vinyl treatment on upholstery. Be careful not to get protectant or too much wax on stepping surfaces. You could make them slippery. Finally, cover your boat to keep out water and dirt and store it in a protected area until your next boating experience. The more you know about your SX, SR, or AR210, and the more you understand about boating, the more enjoyment you and your passengers will have. Prepare yourself by completely reading your owner's manual before you start operating your Yamaha boat. Then, if you have any questions about your boat, please consult your authorized Yamaha dealer. Obviously, this video and the owner's manual can't give you all the information you need to know about safe, enjoyable boating. Yamaha encourages you to take a boating course from your U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary, U.S. Power Squadron, the American Red Cross, or other source. These courses are usually free or at minimal cost. For more information, call the Boating Safety Hotline at 1-800-368-5647. Congratulations! By combining responsible boating with 224 stroke horsepower, you're about to experience a world of on-the-water excitement. Be prepared for fun. Welcome to the enjoyment and adventure of a Yamaha boat.